My name is Scotland Willis with Green Network News, and here at Boston Vegetarian Food Festival, Evelyn's corrected me on that, thank you so much. We have Evelyn Kimber. And Evelyn, tell us a little bit about who you are, yourself, this event, how long you've been doing it. Fill in the blanks for us.
Well, I'm president of the Boston Vegetarian Society, and we are the organizers of this event. It's a nonprofit effort entirely organized by volunteers and staffed by volunteers, a labor of love of the society, to advance our mission to educate about the benefits of a plant-based diet, and those benefits are for your personal health, to stop animal cruelty, and to stop the destruction to the environment that's caused by animal agriculture.
Wow. And so how long have you been doing this event now? How many years?
This is our 17th annual Boston Vegetarian
Wow,
Food Festival.
that really says something about, talk about sustainability and staying power. And it looks like, I heard yesterday it was even more packed than today, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
What does this mean for the festival itself, for the Vegetarian Food Festival?
Well, it's very encouraging and very motivating to us to keep the effort onward, because it's a lot of work on the part of our organizing committee and volunteers to put this together. We started in January and worked through October with the work level intensifying. But I'll tell you, the rewards and the feedback are so gratifying that it's very motivating for us to keep up the effort. We hear from attendees throughout the year who found this event to be a turning point in their lives. We hear from exhibitors, small vegan food producers who launched their businesses here at our festival. Our speaker room upstairs is packed all day long, where we bring in top national speakers on health and nutrition, the environment, and living with compassion and in harmony with animals in the world. And people walk out of there totally motivated and inspired. So all in all, it's a very rewarding and exciting experience, and it's free.
That's great. Wow. In this economy, that's great. Not only is it free, but people walk away with, unlike a lot of events, they walk away with more than they came in with. And now I heard you say that you have your speaker rooms are jam-packed upstairs. Who are a couple of your keynote speakers that you have that you can share with the audience?
We have Dr. Pam Popper. She's one of the world experts in nutrition, and I just heard her speak an hour ago, and you walk out of her lecture feeling so grounded in information, and you just wish that everyone could hear it. So we're really glad that at least several hundred people in that room did get to hear her. We have Dr. Michael Greger, another world-renowned expert on nutrition and animal agriculture, and he's also hilariously funny. So people demand to hear him.
Humor and health. That sounds like
He's one of the most entertaining nutrition speakers in the world. He can take any topic that you might anticipate would be dry and have people rolling in the aisles. So
now, did he already speak yesterday?
He spoke yesterday, and he's speaking again at 3 o'clock today.
Numbers-wise, how have you seen over the past 17 years, what has happened with the Boston Vegetarian Food Festival over the past 17 years?
It's grown a great deal. It used to be a one-day event.
Wow.
And it was so crowded that people were shoulder to shoulder and literally couldn't move in the aisles. So we expanded to 2 days to both try to spread out the crowds and to increase the outreach to people who can't attend on Saturday. Now they can come on Sunday.
We'll talk about growth and sustainability. You guys may end up having to do this for a week.
But it still gets pretty crowded, but everyone takes it in good nature and has a good time. So.
And I see you're doing this. This is in the neighborhood of Roxbury. Is that correct?
We're at the Reggie Lewis Athletic Center at 1350 Tremont Street in Roxbury, and it's right across the street from the Orange Line T station at Roxbury Crossing. Very convenient by T. There are also a bunch of buses that stop here, and there are also some free parking lots.
Wow.
That's hard to get in Boston.
Well, that's something. So this really sounds like if you're not a vegetarian yet, you probably should be after you watch us or after you've been to this festival, because I hear nothing but positive stuff. I hear that it's great to come here, it's very accessible, there's parking, you can get here by the T, so you can be sustainable whether you're getting here, walking here, and I think the Southwest Corridor is right behind you, so you can bike here on a good weather day.
You're right, and some people do. I want to emphasize also that anyone who feels that making a big change in their diet from the standard American heavy meat, heavy dairy, heavy egg diet to all plant-based is too much for them to consider. We want to emphasize that it's all a journey. It's all taking steps, moving in a direction. So any changes that people make in the direction of reducing the amount of foods from animal sources and increasing the amount of foods from plant sources is a positive step for all the good reasons. And then they take it gradually, and little by little they just sort of eating too many delicious, great plant foods, and there's not even any room for those animal foods anymore.
But let's talk about the dynamic range of foods available in the vegetarian system now for people.
Well, the basic plant foods that are healthy and whole foods are grains of all different kinds. Most of us think of rice when we think of grains, but there's amaranth and rye and just like dozens of different kind of rice, of grains. One of our presenters yesterday was all about glorious grains. And then legumes, all kinds of beans, chickpeas, garbanzo beans, black beans, navy beans, lentils, fabulous sources not only of plant protein but of all kinds of minerals, phytoprotective elements, and fiber. Then of course vegetables, dark green leafy vegetables, colorful orange vegetables, and fruit. Those are the basics. Now, that having been said, there's the treat foods. And when you walk around our room, you'll find that when it's your birthday or you want to have a treat, vegan treats are abounding, and they're made with no dairy and no egg, and they're even more delicious than, we use dairy and egg in baking and cooking just because that's what we've been raised on and that's what we're used to using, but it's not necessary. There are other ways to make things. So, and there are also many kind of transition foods that we display out here that are similar to meat in their texture and mouthfeel and their chewiness, and making sandwiches and gyros and whatever, but they're based entirely on plant foods. So there's a wide variety, and that's why we have this here, so people can walk up and down the aisles tasting samples and really get a good picture of the variety of foods that are readily available in the marketplace today.
And the magic I've seen here, talking about the variety of foods, and the magic has really been that I've walked up and down here, and when you talk about the legumes and the grains and the leafy greens and things like that, they've really done some magic with these things. And these are real, you can make dinners out of the things you see in here. These aren't just beans you put on a plate like from Jack and the Beanstalk, but these are meals. I've seen desserts, I've seen things that look like they're breakfast items, dinner items, lunch items. I've seen all kind of bean pastes and everything. So it's amazing what people are really doing in here. I see an increasing number of beverages that are not high fructose, and there's a real focus on that kind of holistic approach to consuming food.
Yeah. One of the beverages that I'm really excited about having here is African juices. There's a woman from Africa who's starting her own little business, and it's juices from the baobab tree and hibiscus plants and ginger root. So we have all kinds of unusual new things here that people are getting exposed to in a very efficient manner.
So then what you're also talking about is we have business enterprise here. You're talking about people from Africa. As I was walking around, I also heard about someone who was here from Europe, someone else from Virginia. So people, this is not just a local Boston event. This has really grown over the past 17 years from what I understand. I'm
always amazed that we have exhibitors who come all the way in from not just the west coast of the U.S., but from British Columbia and Western Canada, all over North America, and of course we like to feature our local providers as well.
Fantastic. Well, Evelyn, thank you so very much. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for having this event. This is fantastic.
Thanks so much for
coming.
Look
forward to seeing you for another 17 years from now.
Thank you.
All right, Upton's Naturals. Are these our spokespeople here? You are now. We're putting you on the spot, so we hope you have good knowledge. My name's Scotland Willis, and who do we have here?
I'm Dan.
Dan, nice to meet you, Dan.
I'm Ethan.
Dan and Ethan are going to tell us a little bit about Upton's Naturals. What do we have here, Dan?
We have 3 different kinds of seitan, an Italian, chorizo, and a traditional. Seitan is made by rinsing away all of the starch and wheat flour, so what you have left is very high in protein, low in fat, and it's somewhat meat-like in texture.
This is El Recreo Steak Coffee, and it's coffee that comes from my parents' farm in Nicaragua, in Pinotega, in the mountains. And we import it green and we roast it here and package it so that we can distribute it.
previous years, they had to switch out the trashes 6-7 times a day. Now they switch it out like once.
Awesome.
And so most of the stuff's ending up in recycling or compost. We do a lot of stuff before the festival, making sure our vendors only have recyclable or compostable products.
Yep.
And then we have volunteers at each station telling people where to put their refuse. And a lot of stuff is directed away from the landfill and back into the system.
That sounds fantastic.